Conversations on airplanes sometimes scare people. You know, when you go on an airplane, most people will put in their AirPods, and when the flight's over, they take off the AirPods, and it's like they're in their own world. Not me. If you're going to sit next to me on an airplane, I'm going to initiate some conversation. Where are you going? Where are you coming from? Who are you? Who's your family? I love that curiosity of the coincidence of sitting next to somebody that I basically had no chance of meeting any other time in my life. And I know where it comes from. My grandfather of blessed memory was an immigrant from Poland in the 1920s. We called him affectionately Pa. And he would talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime. 5 minutes with my grandfather and he knew your story. And as my father likes to tell us, it doesn't skip a generation. So I'm the same way. Supermarkets, cashiers, airplanes. If I see somebody with the alma mater, my alma mater across their chest, I need to know, did they go to that school? When did they graduate? Why are they here? And it's this element of curiosity to engage somebody in their story, understanding that the potential for connection when you meet somebody that you literally have no chance of meeting any other way is imminent in your life. Every single one of us has had some type of random interaction, but then you quickly recognize that every single day of our lives, if we choose to acknowledge and engage, coincidences stare us in the face. Just think about the last person you said hello to or said hello to you that prompted a conversation that you know today that if that hello did not happen, they would not be part of your life. Now, most of us or some of us will say it is a coincidence. But today we're going to use the term hashgachat pratit. It means divine intervention. And we're going to look at just a short story in our parasha that can give us some insight, whether we call it a coincidence or divine intervention, about what we can do with it in our life. We know in our parasha that Abraham sends his servant Eliezer to find his son a wife. He goes to the well, he gives him specific instructions, and what are the instructions? Find somebody who is kind, find somebody who's going to give water, and he finds Rivka. And why does Eliezer, the servant, choose Rivka? Not just because of the act of kindness that he is to Eliezer, but also, who does she give water to? Camels. She gives water not just to the human being, but to camels, and Eliezer says, that person who exhibits that kind of kindness, I need to meet for my master's son, Abraham. And there's a very short phrase in the Torah when Eliezer gets to that well, he says, Hakrei na lefanai hayom, in English, grant me good fortune. And the rabbis ask, what is this good fortune that he's praying for? Two explanations. Many rabbis say that Eliezer is saying, prepare me for what I desire. I came here for this need, now make it happen. But the commentary of the Or HaChaim takes it a little further and says, Eliezer, the messenger, is praying that he will be the right messenger for his friend Abraham. He's praying that he will be the right person at the right time to make this happen. Coincidences. Do we pray for them to happen? Do they just happen? And if they happen, what do we do? One, not only minute, but 1 second can change our life. Maybe you have your job today because of the person that you met on the airplane. Maybe you met your spouse because you were at the same restaurant that they happened to be at the same time years ago. The Avraham experience, or as I like to call it, the Eliezer moment, is that it is not enough to simply accept coincidences, But the Jewish way, according to our parsha this morning, is that we go out and put ourselves in a situation in order for us to find coincidences. Not for them to find us, but for us to find them. I have a to-do list on my phone, which usually gets done. And if we have a to-do list, of course, phone calls are part of that list. How many times do we say, tomorrow we will make that phone call? And tomorrow happens. And tomorrow happens again. And tomorrow happens again. But the Avraham way is different. Was it a coincidence that Rebekah was standing at that well? Was it a coincidence that Avraham sent the servant to that well so that Rebekah would be there? Rabbis have the good fortune of marrying people. And you have to ask, where do you meet? And people nowadays meet online, they meet in line, they meet at religious school, they meet at day school, they meet at the Orden Family Friday Night Live, they meet at synagogue, they meet on the street, they meet everywhere. And of course, what do they say? It's beshert. It was meant to be. It was a coincidence. And I say maybe it's hashgachat pratit. Maybe there's a moment that you put yourself in that situation to be Eliezer. Because what does Eliezer translate to, that name? God be my help. Eliezer, God be my help. But you have to take it one step further. Because when the coincidence happens, what's the next step? And if we can do that, I believe we have the ability to prepare for the unexpected moments that we don't even know will happen in 2 minutes, in 2 hours, 2 days, in 2 years. A few weeks ago, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal. It was called The Power of Coincidence. And it referenced a website by Dr. Bernard Beitman, and it was called The Coincidence Project, where he identifies 4 different types of these coincidences, and he explains to them, to the readers, that if you are going to be open to this idea of hashgachat pratit, of divine intervention, of coincidence, of random events, then you have to do 2 things. You have to write them down, and you have to share them with somebody else. You can't keep it to yourself, but it has to be a communal event. That these moments of coincidence cannot stay in your heart. And so I want to demonstrate just one. And if we had time today, every single one of us, I guarantee, could do the same thing. A coincidence that might have happened in the past that led to a moment of meaningful experience. We've had this idea for a few years to have a multi-faith service before Thanksgiving. As a faith leader in this community and any other faith leader in this country, if you're in a city, you meet other faith leaders, not just rabbis. This person introduced you to their priest, the other person introduced you to their pastor, the pastor introduced you to the imam, and all of a sudden, you have a community of faith leaders. And so Thursday night in Barad Hall, we gathered faith leaders from literally 2-3 miles of the radius from this sanctuary. And we gathered not just for prayer, but for gratitude. Usually, we gather in times of crisis. When this community needs our help, we go there. When we need their help, they come here. But this was solely to gather together, to thank each other for what we have done, and most importantly, what we will do together. We always say to each other in the times of crisis, let's meet again soon. I'll call you tomorrow. And it never happens. Our lives, our community lives, they get in the way of each other. But Thursday was very, very different. 12 faith communities from this West Los Angeles area. Churches, mosques, and synagogues. Each faith leader not talking about themselves but the other. Simply express thank you to each other. What I call it, after realizing that moment, it was an Eliezer moment. It was a moment in preparation for a future coincidence. When we prayed, when we sang, and when we thanked each other. We said that evening, imagine. In fact, Cantor Feldman sang the song Imagine, and we ended with the song, What a Wonderful World. Imagine the power. Imagine the power of changing coincidental relationships into intentional experience. For what happens right in front of our eyes can have real meaning, not solely for us, but our families, our community, the people, and the world. And so at the end of Abraham's life, he looks around, and the Torah tells us, Beirach bakol, that Abraham was blessed in everything. If you've been here the last couple of weeks, we know that Abraham had some challenges in his own life as well. But he tells us, Beirach bakol, he was blessed in everything. In other words, he knew that he lived his life with proper intention. He knew that he lived his life with every single person he met had the potential for a meaningful experience in his journey beyond. And so as we keep saying this morning, we're entering into a season of gratitude, the week of Thanksgiving. If you're like me, you'll sit around a table on Thursday and give thanks. You'll give thanks for what was. You'll give thanks to be together with family, to be together with community, to recognize that the food on this table does not just come from nowhere. But I want to add one moment of thanks that you should do this year at your Thanksgiving table. Add an Eliezer moment. Give thanks for the moments that you do not know will happen this upcoming year. Give thanks and gratitude for the coincidences that will appear before your eyes. For when you are open to those moments of hashgachat pratit, divine intervention, each one of us will also have that opportunity to say, Beirach bakol. You, me, all of us together are truly blessed for everything. Shabbat shalom.